So this is one little statistic for you. It's a 2013 survey from the Huffington Post. It says that 45% of Americans believe in ghosts, and 32% believe that their house is haunted or that they've seen a ghost. So we're talking 1/3 of the population believes that their house is haunted.
Do you believe that your house is haunted?
My house is not haunted, no.
I don't think that my house is haunted.
No.
Wow, a third of Americans polled said that they were. That seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot, but let's dive into this. I mean, how many ghosts have we seen?
I've seen 4.
Oh.
Do you have a number?
No, I've never seen any ghosts.
Oh, I haven't.
I think it'd be fun.
I just wanted to sound cool, like I've seen a bunch of them, because I thought you were going to say that you saw a bunch of them too. But no, I haven't seen any either. No.
But it's fun to want to see a ghost.
And that's the thing. So, Brant, this is the big question, right? You've got these scary sounds, you've got these creepy things, you've got all this stuff. The thing is, it's like, ooh, that's so scary. Ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, I'm terrified. But there's actually things happening in your brain and in your body that you actually like. So we're getting scared, and sometimes it's in our control, sometimes it's out of our control, but most of the time, unless we're actually in danger, but most of the time, those scary things, we actually like it.
From conversations to the natural world to complete silence. So many of us focus on what's next rather than what is happening now. I'm Listening is a podcast that dissects the importance of listening.
I'm Drew Richmond.
And I'm Brant Christofferson.
And this is I'm Listening, a podcast simply about the skill of listening.
2023.
Yeah.
How many Hollywood horror films were released in 2023, last year?
4, just as many as ghosts as you've seen.
4. I'm going to guess more than that because I've seen some ads. I'm going to guess 9. Nope. Okay. I'm going to guess 11. 11 is my final answer.
You already have the answer in front of you, though. Is it 11?
46.
46 scary movies?
There were 46 horror films released out of Hollywood in 2023. 46. $800 million grossed in those 75 million tickets sold. Brant, 46. Last I checked, Hollywood doesn't like to lose money and rarely loses money. Horror films are known as the staple. They are the most consistent type of movie Hollywood has been producing over the last 30 to 40 years.
Oh, wow.
That is their steady Eddie. That's how consistent it is, which means people love being scared.
So there's an entertainment factor to it, but there's got to be more than just entertainment. Like thrill-seeking?
But why? Do you like going to scary movies?
When the ones where it kind of really gets in your head, it's really mental, and you're just like, all of a sudden your perception of like, wait, is that real or not? I don't know what's going on. Yeah, they freak me out. I really enjoy that when a movie can actually scare me.
Okay. I don't at all. I avoid it. I don't like the feeling. I don't like anything about it. I never have. And no, I want nothing to do with it. They have not ever seen $1 of mine in the realm of this $800 million of revenue just in 1 year alone. So I want to jump into that a little bit with you because this is a podcast about listening. We got creepy sounds in the night. We want to delve into what's that effect on our body when we do hear that thing and what starts to happen. But we also want to jump into why we like doing it and some of these different components of it. But then I want to get into some scary sounds because it's that time of year. And this is my safe space on a podcast where it's not scary right now. So let's jump into this thing at night. It's scary sounds. yeah, it's the refrigerator that clicks on and off, and yeah, it's the howling coyote, and yeah, there's maybe a police siren. Maybe those are real, but what happens when your imagination takes over and you start kind of, it's a hallucination, it's a paranoia.
Paranoia is, I can't define paranoia. It's being paranoid.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Did you
Yeah.
just use the term in the definition?
I did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what the dictionary says. It's
Okay.
being very, paranoia is the sensation that something is after you or watching you or out to get you. Would that be paranoia?
Well, let's find out real quick, because you can
Okay.
edit out the
'Cause
typing.
you got Google
of
right
the
at your
thing.
fingers.
Yeah. I mean, if I could take a guess of what paranoia means, I would go something along the lines of an unjustified suspicion or mistrust of other people or their actions. Or another example that just popped in my head would be the unwarranted or delusional belief that one is being persecuted, harassed, betrayed by others, occurring as a part of a mental condition. Just off the cuff.
Oh, just off the cuff.
Yeah,
You didn't
just,
read that
I
or
mean,
anything.
nope, not at all.
So, okay.
So that's paranoia.
I think it is, there's a mental piece to it.
Yeah, it's in your head. It's you're making stuff up. It actually doesn't happen.
So when, when you made toast the other morning and you saw Jesus in your toast.
Oh, Jesus toast. Yeah.
Yes, that is pareidolia. Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. We are looking for a pattern or a meaning or a symbology in something that isn't really there, but we want to interpret it like it's there.
So like when I look up into the clouds and it's a dog and you're like, oh,
Yes.
look, the clouds look like a dog.
Yes, you got a great imagination, right?
It's
But
not
pareidolia.
actually. That's pareidolia. Pareidolia.
It looks like
Okay.
a dog, and that it's sending you some kind of signal or meaning. But,
Got it.
something's going to happen to my dog, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
it's seeing something in something that's not there and interpreting it as something of meaning into your life.
Now it's not paranoia, it's pareidolia.
Pareidolia.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there is auditory pareidolia is that idea of when you hear something and you try to put some kind of meaning to it and interpret it in some certain way.
Okay.
This is where we get to those sounds at night. This happens to me not at home, but it's usually somewhere else. If as a kid, it's a sleepover at a friend's house or at, grandma and grandpa's old creaky house. We hear a noise at night and we're just like, what the hell was that? Did you
What
hear
was
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe the hair on the back of your neck starts to stand up a little bit. You get goosebumps and you are freaking out because you heard something and it's coming after you.
Yeah, and it's this idea that it's much like the dog in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody might look up at that and say, well, no, that's a cat in the cloud. Or I don't see, people say, I don't see it, right? Oh, I don't see that dog at all. Your brain is telling you that it looks like a dog. The same thing with the auditory component of there's that creak, there's that sound, and your brain starts going, and it's just your brain trying to figure out what it is and putting some justification behind it because your brain's, you're trying to you want to identify what that sound is. And when it becomes scary is that you go to the edge of, that wasn't just the cat jumping off the counter. That was somebody trying to break into my home.
And we're wired for this though, right? We're wired to be kind of tuned into possible threats.
Yep.
If there's a threat coming and I can catch it before it catches me,
Yeah.
I survive, right?
Well, and this goes into this whole idea of if it's not actually a threat, even though our brain is trying to figure it out and might be saying this might be a threat, we actually like it. The chemical reaction inside of our bodies is actually getting us going, and it's quite exciting. But it's probably just the cat jumping off the counter. We've all been there of like, you pop up out of sleep, you're like, what did I just hear? And in that very brief moment, you're like, is somebody breaking into my home? And then your brain kicks in. You're like, oh no, that was the cat jumping off the counter. But in that moment, all those chemicals start going because you're like, what if somebody is breaking into my home? What if I do need to get going? That's your brain kicking in, and it's actually releasing chemicals that we like.
And that's why we have so many manufactured haunted houses, because we can go to a haunted house and pay money for this controlled experience. It's not really someone breaking into the house. It's just pretend, but we get that thrill out of it. What other things, are happening at night that maybe it's not there's the pareidolia that we were talking about,
Yep.
right? Where we're like, okay, there's an actual noise and I'm interpreting it to be something else.
Yep.
So this is kind of getting to a second realm now of there is not a noise, but I heard something.
And it woke me up. It made me go, what was that?
Yes.
But now we're getting into this like hallucination world where we believe something happened, but it didn't actually happen. Two different things.
When we start to fall asleep, we suddenly hear a loud bang, a loud noise, a loud explosion, and we jump. This is that phenomenon is called exploding head syndrome.
So your head does not actually explode.
No.
Okay, cool.
But I love the name.
Yeah.
Exploding.
Like
this that little emoji with the exploding head.
Yeah, that's
now has meaning to it.
Yep. That's not the pareidolia is an actual sound. This is actually not a sound at all, but in our head it's a hallucination of sorts, and it wakes us up.
Mm-hmm. And this could kind of go in the same realm of like night terrors or really scary dreams, or those things that we're like, no, I know this happened, but it was really just a phenomenon that was happening inside our own heads.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times it feels real, it sounds real, we think it's real, and usually, you turn and say, hey, did you hear that too? And
yep.
Like, no, I didn't hear anything. Go back to sleep.
This may happen every once in a while. People may be out there listening to this episode at this point and going, yeah, I remember doing that once or twice. There are people that live with this pretty regularly. It can lead to anxiety and do some other things and not really a treatment for it. But it can be a bit daunting because when you wake up, now you're awake, and sometimes it's obviously more difficult to fall back asleep.
Yeah.
When I was 12, I went to a haunted house.
Yeah.
I hated every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And then I got home, took one step out of the car, and a squirrel, something, rustled in the leaves. It was nighttime. I thought I was going to die. I thought for sure that the person with the chainsaw was also in my front yard.
Yeah. So you've already kind of queued it up. So it's in your mind. Yeah, you're kind of keyed to looking for those things now.
Now, you're right, because I think, and that starts to lead into this paranoia component.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But you've got these two different things. Like, so some people like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, and some people would never do that. Some people can say they never do it, but then go do it. Some people will just never do it. So you can kind of fight through that. Why do people jump out of airplanes? Why do people go on roller coasters? Why do people go see scary movies? Why do people go into haunted houses? Why do they like those thrilling, scary things? Because it releases. I'm gonna read this slightly. It releases dopamine and endorphins. When we're scared, our bodies release these two chemicals. They actually make us feel happier.
Yeah.
And reduce stress. It's an actual chemical reaction. But there's a difference between being actually scared for your life, where you go into this more of this fight or flight kind of thing, and this perception of being scared and going through this idea that I'm not actually going to die in this haunted house. But the feeling I get from being scared is actually enjoyable.
Yes. Which is the weirdest thing
That's
ever.
super bizarre. Why do people like roller coasters? Why are roller coasters so important in people's lives? Because they love that thrill. They're probably not going to die. There are random accidents, of course, but they're not going to die. It's not actually going to, it is going to scare you, but it's not going to kill you or threaten you. So all of that emotional component to it actually is enjoyable.
This makes me think of, I just think of kids having a sleepover and telling scary stories.
Yep.
Because it's exciting. And that's all fun. And then they're like, okay, we told scary stories and now we're going to sleep. Because that always happens.
And then they
No,
don't.
it doesn't.
No, they get super paranoid.
They freak themselves out so much that they don't sleep at all. They're like a pile on the floor, like scared, and then they come into your room and
Yeah. Now you've got these endorphins and this dopamine that's being released in your body because of the scary story, because of the haunted house, because of the whatever. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. But now it starts to overlap with the paranoia. And now it's not cool. Now you're not sleeping. Now you're getting into what was that sound that I just heard when it was just a squirrel in the leaves, but you think you're going to die because it's the person in the chainsaw.
You know, it's interesting because that happens more at night than it does during the daytime. At night, our senses are different.
Right.
We can't see what's going on. So we're more tuned into listening to our environment and not visually looking at our environment.
No, that's a great point. You know, we don't go trick or treating at 10 a.m. I mean, sometime now we do, but back in the day, generally speaking, you didn't do that at 10 a.m. You did it at night, right? You don't go to the haunted house at noon. You go to the haunted house at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
This whole topic of this podcast of listening to scary sounds isn't listening to scary sounds during the day. It's listening to scary sounds during the night when you can't see, or that ability to see is greatly reduced, but your ears are the things that perk up and get your brain going on what may or may not be the truth.
Yeah, ears, I mean, that's kind of one of the first ones, and this podcast is about listening, so we're focusing on that. But it could also go with smell or touch.
Yep.
Feeling a sensation at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking someone is looking at you, or that feeling of being watched.
Ooh.
You pair that with a sound, and
the beautiful combination of
get really weird.
of the cat jumping off the counter and then your 4-year-old kid going, Dad,
Oh, yeah.
Dad,
Yeah.
Dad, Dad, Jesus, what?
Just like, what is going on?
Yeah, no, it's terrifying. Okay, so this is the other thing. So we talked about this kind of physical reaction to your body during these scary things. I got a question for you, Brant. Do most people go to roller coasters by themselves? Do most people go to haunted houses by themselves? Do most people go to scary movies by themselves?
No.
No, they don't. They go with friends. Now, not only are you going through this emotional reaction to these things, your friends are also going through these emotional reactions. Everybody's a little bit different, but it creates this social bond and it creates a social situation that reaffirms all of these feelings. Yeah, because now you have friends that are going through the same thing and they're sharing these emotions. You see these people coming out of haunted houses that they've just been scared. What are they doing? What are they doing when they're coming out of the haunted house as a group of friends?
They're laughing. They're huddled together.
They're huddled together. They're laughing. It's this weird reaction to it all that they've just been terrified for a half hour and they're coming out. And as a group, they're laughing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool reaction to, and again, this is, we have a lot of scary things that are actually happening in the world. This is all in the realm of this manufactured scared, not actually being scared.
It's kind of a release too, though, to be able to experience like a strong emotion and just kind of let that out, if it's through a scream or laughing or crying. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. It's a way to kind of have that release.
All right. So we've got these scary sounds. We've got all these different things. What are the scariest sounds? What's your scariest sound? First thing to come into your head. Go.
Tapping on the window.
Oh, yeah. I think of the movie Halloween, that theme song. Do, 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 do. You can insert a theme song there. That's super creepy.
Yeah.
I could hear that at 10 o'clock in the morning in July, and it's still creepy. It doesn't have to be like 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night in the fall. Super creepy.
Okay. Sometimes like if a a coyote gets a rabbit in the middle of the night. That
yeah,
scream.
nature death. Yep,
Oh
nature
my
death.
gosh, it's like a blood-curdling scream.
And also for our listeners, if you Google raccoons mating raccoons,
Put your safe search on for that one.
yeah, it's not visual, it's auditory. That's terrifying. So there are these nature sounds that are happening with these
Just
screams.
picturing you one day just going and searching all this stuff.
No,
I
you
wonder
don't
what
want to do
this
that.
sounds.
No, because I experienced it. I did not experience
You
it.
heard this crazy noise. You were
heard it
wondering what it was.
in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Oh my god, our neighbor is dying!" Somebody called the cops, and in all actuality, it was just raccoons apparently doing the deed. We've noted often on this podcast, we're in our mid 40s. This is, 80s, we're mid 80s. There was this thing called a viewfinder.
I've got one on my desk.
Brant has a viewfinder, which is pretty funny. I don't know why Brant has a viewfinder, but he does. Anyway, so I had a viewfinder. A viewfinder, you can Google it if you want to. Otherwise, for those that don't know what it is, it was this little plastic contraption. You put this wheel of like slides, of film slides in there. And then you click the button and you put your eyes up to it and you click the button and then it went around like a slideshow. Well, you can get those for like Smurfs, which was super neat. You can get those for the Jetsons. That was super awesome.
Oh, here's one of Mount Rushmore is the one I got now.
Mount, yeah, you can do it educational for sure. Are you, Brent?
This is the Black Hills.
Brent has found a viewfinder, his viewfinder on this, and is currently looking. So the Black Hills National Parks, etc.
The Dinosaur Park above Rapid City.
In 1985,
Yeah.
you could also get Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That was a bad one. And I specifically remember getting Michael Jackson's Thriller, and I was super tough at 7 years old, 8 years old, and I could handle this, and I could not handle that. I'd pull the little lever down, and the new slide would come up, and it would be terrifying, and I had nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I was 7, 8 years old, something like that. My parents had to take it away. I never saw it ever again because it was the best thing that needed to happen, and I hated it. And I believe from that point forward, I don't like roller coasters. There's no good reason to jump out of an airplane. And I don't like haunted houses or being scared at all whatsoever. I don't like any of that. Ferris wheels make me panic. So that's where I am in the realm of being scared and quote unquote enjoying that endorphins and dopamine, all those things. At 8 years old, I couldn't handle the Thriller Michael Jackson viewfinder.
I just found it on eBay. It looks awesome.
How much is it?
They're all the ones I'm finding are already purchased.
Oh, bummer.
Well, we're gonna have to find one. And
do you remember your earliest like childhood scared thing? Do you have a Michael Jackson Thriller viewfinder story?
I did not have the viewfinder, but that video, it scared me, but I liked it. Like this, like it was like, what the hell?
Okay.
Like the makeup.
So you're okay with that?
I was just like freaked out. I think for me, it was Aliens. Scared the shit out of me. The little
like the movie, or like this possibility that there's another thing?
Yeah, these little green men with the big black teardrop eyes and the big head freaked me out. So that would be the thing at night, right? The tapping on the window.
Oh, that got you going.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Did not care for those guys.
Okay. Did you ever actually have an interaction with an alien?
No.
Oh, okay.
But thought of it.
Your mind
was
went
pretty amazing.
Your mind went off.
It's kind of interesting because it kind of feeds upon itself in regards to those scary noises, right? So you mentioned the Halloween music being scary to you.
Yeah.
It's a feedback loop, right? Like a lot of the first times, like as a kid or being younger, that you're introduced to scary sounds or ideas of scary sounds, they are brought to life on a movie.
Yep.
Which then reinforces, like, I never thought of the floors creaking being steps before, but now that I watched that movie where they were actually steps, now I'm freaked out.
Right.
We've got this, I I don't know, this echo chamber or this, what is it? It's imagination.
Well,
it's a cultural phenomenon, right? Of we
It
love
is
these
cultural.
scary things.
Well, and scary movies have been around for
since movies were invented. Yeah.
So, this has not been around for all of life, because I believe prior to that, it was actual fear. Right? Actual fear was probably the more predominant thing that people needed to deal with. And now we're a little bit safer to whatever degree. And now we start manufacturing ourselves and it works.
I think there's something to that, though. Like there's actual fear and then there's the artificial made up stuff. When we endure those scary sounds or those scary experiences that are made up, it gives us a confidence boost. We're like, I endured that and I survived.
Yeah.
I am strong. But it gives us that sense that, we accomplished something. We made it through. It gives us a sense of control and confidence.
All right. So the question we started with this whole thing was, we had listened to these sounds in the middle of the night. It's now Halloweenish time. Some people totally love it. Some people don't like it at all. That's me. The reality is that these sounds in the night, these things that we hear, these things that we listen to, whether it's the movie soundtracks, whether it's the scary sounds, it's the raccoons, it's the coyotes, it's haunted houses that they're not just visual. There's definitely an auditory component to it. We get scared and we love it. We love it. We want more of it because it gathers us socially. We have shared experiences with other people, whether they're strangers or our friends. And internally, there's a chemical reaction that's happening with these endorphins and dopamine and all these things that actually makes us feel good.
Yeah. So at night, when we can't see, our senses are altered. So we're hearing more. We have a response to threat, if it's real or imagined. And that is in place for a reason, to keep us alive.
Yep.
We've learned to play with that phenomenon to turn it into thrill seeking, which is turned into a billion-dollar industry with movies or haunted houses or anything Halloween related to get an artificial thrill and scare because it releases endorphins and dopamine. It feels good.
It's a great concept and great wrap up of this whole thing. It helps me understand why people love Halloween. And it's that time of year where they get scared. It is my least favorite holiday of the year because of Michael Jackson's Thriller when I was 7.
Such a good video.
I don't like being scared.
Here's what we're going to do is go out tonight, either in your house where it's really quiet or outside, and listen.
Then what I want you to do is watch Blair Witch Project the next night and go back outside right after watching Blair Witch Project. And tell me what the difference is.
I like it. Leave comments for us.
And tell us, say, well, when I went out one night, it was like, oh, there's an owl, and oh, there's a rustling of the leaves, and oh, I hear a coyote in the distance. And then you watch the Blair Witch Project, and then you go outside, and you're like, it was fucking terrifying. I can't do it. I had to run back inside because there was an owl and a coyote in the distance and a rustling in the leaves, and I was going to die.
Exactly.
All right. Well, so my takeaway is that I don't like any of this. That's my takeaway. I don't like any of it. It's not for me. I don't want anything to do with it. And I just like to live my life normal and even keeled. And I don't need thrills, at least scary ones. What about you, Brant?
I like them. It's a little much for me with the amount of things that are out there, but I get it. And I enjoy scary things. So.
Okay. Well, then I guess we're never going to be able to be friends.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll be scratching at your windows next week.
Awesome. Thanks. In the description of this podcast, you will find more information and a list of any of the sources that we used.
This podcast is created and produced by Drew Richmond and Brant Christofferson. Editing by me, and the I'm Listening theme music by Drew.
That's me.
That's you.
Brant, I will talk to you later, my friend.
We'll see you next time.
Yeehaw.
Have a good one, Drew.
Bye, Brant.